Welcome to the Irving, Texas HREC Honda Rider Education Center, also known as the MSF Campus, Irving, Texas. This is what the training equipment looks like when it is properly stored. All of the battery tenders are on. We don't have all of our green lights here yet, but they'll turn green eventually on both sides. Had to disconnect them for a little bit, so they'll come up. I'm pretty confident. The ROVs are now all giving us green lights. Notice too that the floor is clean. There's no mud on the floor. This facility, they want it to be like a showroom floor. They want it to be clean. They're probably an ISO 9000 company. My bet is they are. If there was dirt on this floor, they'd fail their ISO 9000 inspection and heads would roll. Guess what those are? Wow. Get a little dustpan there. All that stuff is there. Use them. Respect the facilities we're blessed to be able to use. So we have 4 ROVs and 8 ATVs here. We'll go first and talk about the battery tenders that are back here. Each ROV has its own battery tender. And there's one switch to take care of that battery tender. The way the ATVs are in here, I guess I could say the way the ROVs are in here, it's a little bit difficult to get to, but not impossible. There's a power strip here, and all you have to do is push that button and the battery tenders will be off. Note that the battery tenders have capacitors in them. So when you turn it off and you come back up here, the chances are very good that you're still going to have lights on until those capacitors are drained. All right, we do not need to use the battery tenders every day. So that's once you get here, turn them off, disconnect them, maybe hang them up on the shelf back here, the leads that go down to the batteries themselves. They are plug-in leads. You don't have to worry about alligator clips and getting to the actual battery. Okay, to get to them, sometimes what I have to do is climb up here, reach over and grab the park brake, release it, and pull the ROV out. Actually, the first one here is maybe I would move an ATV out, but there is the plug right there. So it unplugs, and then please put the cap on the plug that stays with the ROV during operation to keep dirt and mud out of the plug. Hopefully that sounds like a good idea to everyone. All right, so that's kind of ROV. ATVs also have battery tenders, 2 switches. You got a gang of 4 battery tenders here. So this one is off right now because I have a couple of ATVs out. Again, when you pull them in and out, you don't have to bother with the alligator clips on the ATV. Just unplug it, pull the ATV out, and if need be, and put it back again. So this is the way the ATVs are set up. When you get here, they should, I don't like that word, but if people do what they're supposed to do, you'll have a negative alligator clip on the negative side of the battery and a positive on the positive side of the battery, red and black, and a plug. All right, easy enough. And the seats sit just like they are. You push them back and forth, not a problem. Okay. The mud in Texas, in Irving, Texas specifically, is a little bit like super glue. Goes on easy, comes off really, really hard. This little guy right here was purchased so that we could wash the ROVs and the ATVs off and put them in here. Honda wants these put back in here just as though they were on a showroom floor. So that means there's no mud on the tires, that the ROV has been wiped down, and that it is in basically the state of a showroom. Not dirty, muddy, ugly. All right. So this little guy is less than a year old. I have one at home that's 5 years old. My 5-year-old power washer looks beautiful compared to this one. This one has been beat terribly, terribly. Okay, this is important. Please, please, please pay attention. This is very important. This is a fuel valve. This arrow on the little gas can thing is pointing that way. That means if you want to operate this piece of equipment, this needs to be over here. If you want to choke it, which you want to do the first time you start it, this belongs over here. Pretty much as soon as it starts, it's good to go. Push it back. Okay, now you're going to put this guy up. You're going to take this and you're going to pull it back over here. If you don't do that, and the fuel tank leaks into the crankcase way down here, where the little yellow thing is that tells you how much oil is in the crankcase, then if the fuel tank was full at the time, then when the next person arrives to use the equipment, because the fuel valve was not placed in the storage position over here like it is now, the fuel will leak into the crankcase. And if somebody doesn't check the oil, then they won't know that that's happened. If you do check the oil and you take that little yellow cap off, fuel will come pouring out. And then of course you'll have to drain all of the fuel and the oil out and go buy a quart of oil and fill it back up again. All right, so that's why we don't want to cause problems for people. We want them to be able to use the equipment. All right. So upon arriving this last time, the high pressure hose was still connected here. And then it was wrapped around and around and around, you get it, the handle, causing a kink here, 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 here in the hose, and causing a kink here, 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 here in the hose. The kinks create weak spots in the hose, and the hose will fail. It's an exciting experience. Don't do that. What we do is we coil the hose, being very, very, very careful to ensure that there are no kinks in the coiled hose. When it's time to use the hose, we completely uncoil the hose. so that it's not coiled. There's no loops in it. It's ready to use. Then you hook it up to the high pressure line here. You hook the hose to the water intake here. That's good. And then you turn the water on while the engine is off. The zero is off. Okay. You let that water run for a while until it stops spitting air out of the line. And then it's pretty easy. You just start it. You turn the fuel on, you choke it, you switch this to the run position, you pull the recoil starter, and it will start up and it will operate very well. Power washer shutdown checklist. 1. Engine off. 2. Water off. 3. Remove the tip and put it back in its holder. 4. Actuate the wand to release water pressure from the hoses. 5. Remove and coil hoses. And 6. Most important, turn off the fuel. Then when you are done, all the hoses come off. You coil this hose. It's important that as you coil this hose, one end of it is down, and that will drain the water out, so that if by some chance it got to be freezing inside this building, which it probably won't, but that way the ice won't damage the hose. Then you come back here and you take this and you pull this off and you pull this out. What is this? Oh, look, it says pump saver. Good. So then you attach the pump saver into the hose intake and you step off to the side. You want to be over here. You don't want to be, excuse me, you don't want to be anywhere where this is pointing. Maybe somebody you don't like, you could have them there, but don't do that either. So this is on here. Get it snug, doesn't have to be tight. And while it's on there, you take the little safety cap off of the pump saver and you push that button. And that is going to put antifreeze and oil in this pump. And that's the way it is to be stored. If you don't do that, one day it won't pump. It just won't pump anymore. We want it to pump for a long time. If you run out of this, you purchase it at Home Depot. Easy to do. Okay, so this used to have a nice little hanger on it to hang the hose, but apparently somebody did not like it and it's been removed and I cannot find it. So now to transport this out to the training center, we don't clean here locally where these machines are stored. We clean them out where they're used in the field. There's water out there with hoses. Then you're going to carry the hose in one hand and you're going to pull with the other hand. Okay, that's the best way to do it. And then finally, this belongs to ASI ROVA. It was purchased with ASI ROVA funds. It is a nice piece of equipment. It is pilferable, meaning people could take it. So we have a lock to prevent that. And it mostly belongs over here in a nice little spot right here. Okay. Now, this looks like a real good place to lock it. We're just going to get the lock, we're going to wrap it around this, and we're going to just lock it right here. So now it's nice and secure. Sure it is. It is real secure until I come over here and unscrew this knob and split the bar and just take it away. No problem. So we lock it. It's a little bit more difficult, I give you that. It is. But we're going to stick the cable through this hole right here. There's a weld here and a weld here. Please do not use any fuel from this locker. This locker does not belong to ASI. There's fuel in there. It's not ours. Don't touch it. Our fuel is over here. They have a motorcycle mechanics, motorcycle service school through that door. When they come to get their fuel, if it's not there, they're not happy. And they can cause problems for us, so don't do that. These are the fuel cabinets. They belong to the training program here. Always, always, always source non-ethanol fuel. Non-ethanol fuel. These carburetors on these machines, especially the ATVs, will degrade being stored with ethanol fuel. Besides the ethanol fuel, you want to ensure that each fuel can is supplemented with seafoam. About $8 at Walmart. This one is full. So somebody's doing a good job there. How much do you put in? Well, that's always a mystery. To stabilize fuel, seafoam works to stabilize stored fuel. Up to 2 years, pretty good. Add 1 ounce per gallon of fuel. So that's pretty easy. You're going to look at this, put in 5 ounces. So that would be between the 4 and the 6, and dump it into the can, and then you fill the can up. It's that easy. If you use fuel, use it out of 1 can only until that can is empty. If the can's not empty, it's okay. If it's not quite empty, don't use another one so that you don't empty this one. If this one's full, don't touch it until this one has been emptied. And then fill it. All right? So it's not nice. It's not nice. It's not nice to leave the training site with empty cans of fuel. That's just not nice. It's not appreciated. So, where to go to purchase non-ethanol fuel? Less than 5 miles from HREC Irving, there is a Walmart with a Murphy fuel station at 5140 North Beltline Road, Irving, Texas, 75038. The ethanol-free fuel is clearly marked. You'll note that it costs more than other fuels because it is considered a specialty fuel, but is much less here than purchasing it in cans from Home Depot. If we're going to be good driver coach trainers and ATV safety instructor, chief and safety instructors, we need to take care of our equipment. We need to be polite to others who come to this area to provide training.